Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Success in Africa Leadership Podcast. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. I have been studying this for 3 decades with a particular focus on people in Africa. And in this podcast, I share stories, lessons, and insights about people having success in Africa. Why this podcast? I created it because I have a vision for Africa. I have a vision of Africa becoming a middle-income continent by the year 2030 and a high-income continent by 2040. And for that to happen, I need you and every other African watching or listening to this podcast to become successful. So, if you want to be successful in Africa, I encourage you to like and subscribe to this podcast. This episode is brought to you courtesy of BCA Online, the one-stop shop for mastering leadership. Joining BCA Online is free and it gives you access to countless hours of knowledge, videos, and a plethora of resources on leadership that will enhance your capacity. Also, if you have questions that you want me to answer after watching this video, just log on to BCA Online. The link is on the screen. And post your questions there. That is where I will respond to your questions. Today's episode is about a man who has been called Africa's Bill Gates. Though, really and truly, his story is uniquely African. It's about the man who took on his government in a grueling 5-year legal battle, not to become a politician or to seize land, but to establish the right for ordinary Zimbabweans to pick up a phone and make a call. That man is Strive Masiyiwa, founder of Econet Wireless, philanthropist, global thought leader, and one of the most influential entrepreneurs Africa has ever produced. Strive was born in 1961 in then Southern Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. His parents fled the country when he was young to escape the civil war, and the family relocated to Zambia. That move was pivotal. You see, growing up in Zambia exposed Strive to the struggles of ordinary Africans under systems that limited opportunity. He has said in interviews that as a young boy, he always believed his destiny lay in service to Africa. Sounds familiar, near to my heart. From Zambia, his parents eventually sent him to school in the United Kingdom. He was a bright student. He excelled in mathematics and science, and in time, he enrolled at the University of Wales to study electrical engineering. He graduated in 1983 at a time when Britain was emphasizing, under Margaret Thatcher, free markets and deregulation. These ideas shaped him, but he was not content to remain abroad. So Strive returned home. He was determined to use his skills for Africa's progress. At first, he worked for the state-owned telecoms company, the Post and Telecommunications Corporation, commonly known as PTC at the time. It didn't take him long to see that the inefficiencies, the bureaucracy, and the way ordinary Zimbabweans were locked out of access to basic communications was not only a problem, but an opportunity. To get a landline could take years. Phones were a symbol of privilege, not tools of everyday life. Strive knew that this was not the way forward for Africa. In 1993, Strive decided to start his own telecoms company. He wanted to bring mobile telephony, then still in its infancy, to Zimbabwe. But the PTC, that's the Post and Telecommunications, the parastatal, had a government-backed monopoly. When he applied for a license, he was denied. Most entrepreneurs would have shelved the dream at that point. Strive instead said, He turned to the courts. He argued that Zimbabwe's constitution guaranteed freedom of enterprise and that government could not restrict citizens from offering services. It was a bold and risky move. The battle lasted 5 years. During that time, Strive's resources were completely drained. He sold personal belongings to fund his legal fees. His family faced intimidation. At one point, he even considered giving up and leaving the country. But his faith in God and his conviction kept him going. In 1998, the court finally ruled in his favor. For the first time in Zimbabwe's history, a private company could operate a mobile network. Econet Wireless was born. Econet's early days were challenging. Zimbabwe's economy was already showing signs of strain, and there was skepticism about whether Africans would even want these mobile phones. I mean, the idea that a fruit seller in Harare or a farmer in rural Matabeleland would need such a device seemed laughable to many elites. But Strive had faith. He believed otherwise. He launched Econet with just 32 base stations and a few thousand subscribers. Demand exploded almost immediately. People signed up in droves, desperate to connect with family, to conduct business, and access services. Within a year, Econet had become one of the fastest growing companies in Zimbabwe. But Strive was not content with Zimbabwe alone. He saw all of Africa as his market. Within a few years, Econet had expanded into Botswana, Lesotho, and beyond. Today, the company operates in more than a dozen countries with tens of millions of subscribers and interests in mobile money, satellite, renewable energy, and digital services. Strive's success in business made him one of Africa's first billionaires. But he has consistently used his platform for much more than just profit. In 1996, even before Econet took off, he and his wife established the Higher Life Foundation. The foundation has provided scholarships and educational support to over 250,000 children, many of whom are orphans of the HIV or AIDS crisis. Notice that he did that even before he became extremely wealthy. During the Ebola crisis in West Africa and the COVID-19 pandemic, Strive played a central role in mobilizing resources. He was appointed the African Union's Special Envoy on COVID-19, coordinating the procurement of medical supplies and vaccines for the continent. Globally, Strive Masiyiwa sits on boards and advisory councils for organizations like the Gates Foundation, Unilever, and the AU Reform Task Force. Time even named him one of the world's 100 most influential people. But through it all, he remains deeply committed to his faith in God, his family, and his vision of a prosperous Africa. There are a number of lessons and takeaways for me from the journey of Strive Masiyiwa. Number one, the lesson of courage. Stand firm in the face of opposition. Not many Africans have had the courage to take on their government in court. When the Zimbabwean government tried to shut him out, Strive went to court. The process was long, it was grueling, but he never wavered. You see, being successful in Africa requires resilience against powerful forces. Second lesson, see what others cannot see. At a time when people thought that mobile phones were luxuries, Strive saw them as tools of empowerment. You see, his vision was way ahead of its time, and it changed the destiny of millions. He could see what access to this kind of communication would mean for the average African. Yes, it hadn't been used that way before, but he saw possibility where others saw impossibility. That's lesson number 2. See beyond the obvious. Lesson number 3. Success is a platform for service. Success is a platform for service. You see, Strive did not stop at building a company. He used his resources to educate children, to fight diseases, and to strengthen Africa's capacity in times of crisis. He has used his platform, his wealth, his connections, his networks as a tool for positive transformation. That's lesson number 3. That success is a platform for service. Lesson number 4. Faith and values matter. You see, throughout this journey, Strive has been guided by his faith in God. He has said many times that his most important boardroom is the prayer room. In a world where corruption and shortcuts are common, his story shows the power of integrity and conviction. Finally, lesson number 5. Think beyond borders. Think beyond borders. Econet was never just a Zimbabwean company. From the start, Strive thought continentally. African entrepreneurs, you see, we have to build a regional and global vision if we want to really create lasting impact. And you see, by becoming Pan-African, in a sense, Strive actually insulated his company from the potential machinations or abuses of any one government. 5 lessons. Let me just recap them for you. Lesson number 1, stand firm, be resilient. Lesson number 2, be visionary. See what others can't see. Other people's impossibilities can be your probabilities. Lesson number 3, make service your priority. Use your success to serve. Lesson number 4, faith and values, have them. Hold on to them because they will make you much more investable. And lesson number 5, think beyond borders. Today, Strive Masiyiwa stands as one of Africa's most successful entrepreneurs. But more than that, he is a symbol of what is possible when persistence, vision, and values come together. He has shown us that even when governments resist, markets can be opened. He has shown us that even when circumstances seem impossible, faith and perseverance can prevail. And he has shown us that success is not just about making money. It's about transforming lives. I hope you will become like one of these successful people in Africa. Follow that journey. Folks, we've come to the end of today's episode. I do hope you've learned a bit more about becoming a successful entrepreneur in Africa. And I thank you for listening or watching. Remember, at BCA Leadership, we support all leaders to achieve their goals. We support you with training. We support you with coaching. We support you with consulting for your organization. Just reach out to bcaleadership.com and we can support you to achieve even further success. The service starts with a free service on BCA Online, and there are other paid services that you can also benefit from. Like Strive, we exist to serve so that we can transform Africa together. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like the video. Tell your friends about it because together we can transform our beloved continent. See you next week.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.